Oh, he's ready. Yeah. Good evening and welcome, everybody. Sorry about that. It is with great pleasure and privilege that I sit before you tonight on this beautiful May 22nd, Tuesday. The time is now 6:30, and I call this meeting to order. We're going to start with our invocation by Pastor David Kimberly, and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Molina.
Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, thank you for the blessings that you've given us. Father, thank you for how you have blessed Alice and how you have blessed us recently with some showers, much needed showers that we hope that you'll continue to share with us throughout this summer. Father, in the deliberations tonight that the City Council will be making, be with our mayor, be with each councilman. Lord, I just pray that you'll bless their lives, their families. I pray, Father, that you'll just continue to bless Alice. Help us to grow, not only numerically, job-wise, and otherwise that will be beneficial to the kingdom of God here on this earth, but also in relationship to each other. Help us, Lord, to work together, to serve together, to carry out that which you have given us as human beings on the face of this earth, and that's to honor you, our Lord, our Savior, and our God. We bless you, we praise you, we thank you for this time in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Could all please turn and face the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. Have a beautiful night. Agenda item number 2, citizen comments and public announcements. It looks like we do not have citizen comments at this time, so we'll proceed with public announcements. Mr. Molina, you have anything to announce?
I want to thank everybody in attendance today, as well as everybody tuning in, and just want to wish everybody a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you. Mr. Burke?
Yes, this evening council would like to do something a little different. Tonight, in commemoration of an event that's coming up, a special day of May 24th, Red Nose Day, which is a focus on child poverty, stamping out child poverty in America. To realize that it is a serious problem, we think about the nutritional programs that we provide here within our community through the food pantry, the school district, churches, and to realize that there are many children who on a daily basis, especially in the summer, may go without their breakfast or lunch or the nutritious meals that they require. So tonight what we'd like to do to place focus on that with the citizens in our town is to put the red nose on.
Oh, I can't breathe.
Hope it stays.
I won't stay. I know it's too big.
Back up, Diana.
I'm working on it.
Diana.
Caught me by surprise.
All right.
Ta-da. Thank you. Ms. Carrasco?
Very much the same, and don't forget our local food pantry. They're open Monday through Friday. I believe it's from 1 till 4 or 5. It's located at 311 Main Street. And, they accept donations, dry foods, canned foods, non-perishable items. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Mayor, just one
Yes, sir.
comment for the citizens out there. Councilman Crisp could not make it today. He not one to miss meetings, but he wanted to apologize for not being here. He's had a sick child and a wife that's sick also, so he had to stay home and help tend to them tonight. So he apologized for not making the meeting.
Thank you. And I'd like to remind, summer coming up, June 11th through August 10th. Our library is hosting the summer reading program, so all ages. Participation is simple, and they have prizes and some great things going on. So June 11th through August 10th. And in memory of Police Week, I'd like to thank all our law enforcement, people in law enforcement. I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. I salute you because that's a job that I could not do. Thank you very much for your bravery and the bravery of your families that also are brave. Thank you so much. Agenda item number 3. Here's status report from City Manager concerning the progress of utilization of public educational and governmental access channels fund for the upgrade audio-video equipment and accessories in the City Council chambers and other relevant areas.
Mayor, just a real quick update. Y'all authorized us to expend some of those funds a few meetings back. I did sign a PO just last week, and so we've had several meetings back and forth between one of the providers, and Jim and Joshua have been very helpful in getting those things done. But they should be, we're kind of, our items are in order. The vendor is booked up all of May in through June, so in July, we should start seeing some progress in here with some of the updates. I just wanted to fill you all in that it's in works already.
Very good. Thank you. Agenda item number 4. The City Council may enter into closed or executive session to discuss the following pursuant to Government Code 551.071, consultation with attorney consultation pursuant to Section 551.071, Texas Government Code to provide legal advice and counsel in connection with the city's legal rights, duties, privileges, and obligations under Chapter 174, Texas Local Government Code arising out of the pending collective bargaining negotiations between the City of Alice and the duly recognized majority bargaining agent for the city's firefighter personnel. So at this time, the time is 6:37, and council will go into executive session. Good evening. The time is now 7:31, and we'll return to open session. Agenda item number 5, here's status report on April 2018, month-ending financial statements and summary of funds.
Mayor, we're going to have our Director of Finance, Roland Ramos, go over this month's financials.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Financial statements ending April 30th, 2018. We should be about 58% of the budget at this point. We'll start with general fund revenues. Year-to-date is $6,971,841, which is about 60% of the budget. So we're a little bit above on general fund revenues. We'll start with property tax for general fund revenues. Year-to-date on the property taxes, the budget was $1,589,000. Year-to-date is $2.5 million, or $2,553,963 to be exact. That's about 94% collection. And as I mentioned the last time, from now till the end of the year, we're just gonna pretty much, it's gonna trickle in very slowly. At the appraisal district, we have about 87%. Our sales tax, our year-to-date budget was $3,080,000, and our year-to-date collection was $2.5 million. This little line right here, which is the one we showed last time, is February budgeted amount. We're comparing that to the 2.5. The February budget was $2,200,000. So since this is collections through February only, we're actually showing an overage of $330,664. So just to clarify, I don't know if I did a very good job there. To clarify, we're ending April 30th, but collecting only through February for sales tax because we're 2 months behind. So here's 2.5 million but budgeted is 2.2 million through February only. So we're 330 over. Occupational and mixed beverage tax were about 50% of the budget. Franchise licenses and permits were about 36%. Our intergovernmental was 44% of the budget. Charges for services is about 37. Fines and forfeitures, we're at 66. Municipal court, again, is doing pretty good with collections. Miscellaneous revenue is 61%, and our interfund is right at 58%. Okay. The sales tax here, okay, I got ahead of myself here. The sales tax 2018 budget was 2.6 million, and 2018 actual was 3.1 million. So on that one, we're 558,436 over on the sales tax. And then our sales tax actual 2018 and 17, we're at 3.1. 2017 was 2.5. So we're about 479,000 over there. Our general fund expenditures, we're at 6.5 million. And that's about 56% of our budgeted amount. The items here of any the larger items are general services under budget. Our finance was right at the budget amount. Fire department's a little bit over. They had a few expenses there, overtime, a little bit of overtime, a little bit in the natural gas, and some of the software maintenance fees that need to be paid for the year. Police department's under budget. Street department's a little bit over. They had some repairs and supplies that I mentioned last time. Garage is right under, and neighborhood facility, and the rest are all pretty much under budget. Which brings me to the revenues and expenses for all major funds. The general fund is $405,007 in the positive. Solid waste is 49,117 in the positive also. Utility fund is 433,021 in the negative. There's some items, there's been quite a repairs and maintenance and construction and so forth. So some of these items are going to be capitalized, and so they won't be expenses, they'll be capitalized. There's a few that need to be reimbursed through bonds also, that'll be charged to bonds. And there's, I think, one line item that was AWA that'll be reimbursed also. The airport is at a 9,734 in the black. Golf course is in the negative 16,401. Hotel occupancy is 2,817. And the multi-use complex is 54,625 in the negative. The revenues for the water, for the auditorium are starting to pick up in May. Will probably be reflected in the May. I think they opened up in the beginning of this month. This past weekend, we had about 4,500 for just the weekend at the water park. And then Josh mentioned that there's a private party that's booked for this month. That's $7,000 that they rented it for the whole day. So that'll be reflected in the May. As those revenues start picking up, hopefully this will get a little bit better. That's it for the financials. I don't know if you have any questions.
Council, are there any questions? Mr. Molina?
No, no questions.
Mr. Burke?
No.
Ms. Carrasco?
No.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos, very much.
Thank you, Roland.
Okay. Agenda item number 6, hear presentations from Allegiance Mobile Health and Hidalgo County Emergency Service Foundation, DBA South Texas AirMed, DBA Hidalgo County EMS, related to their proposals submitted in response to the City of Alice request for proposals for emergency medical ambulance services for the City of Alice, and consider and act upon awarding contract for emergency medical ambulance services.
Mayor, this is an agenda item that we were month to month with our current provider. And so on April 8th, we released an RFP for the emergency medical and ambulance services. We received 2 bids, and we had a committee that scored them. The committee was the interim fire chief, the police chief, the director of finance, the collection and compliance administrator, our city clerk / civil service director. Those were the scoring committee, and we can go over that scoring after we give an opportunity for the 2 bidders to present. And I believe we have, let's see, for Allegiance, we have Daniel Gillespie, and for AirMed, we have Kenneth Ponce. So if you don't mind, to give them a chance to come up and make a presentation. Do you want to start with anyone in particular, Mayor?
Whoever would like to take the seat first would be
Mr.
nice.
Gillespie, are you, okay.
Good evening.
Good
My name is Daniel Gillespie. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Allegiance Mobile Health. I'd like to thank everybody for this opportunity to come in tonight. We've been eagerly awaiting an opportunity to present to you guys and share our story. Allegiance Mobile Health has a proud tradition of providing exceptional emergency services all across Texas, and specifically here in South Texas and the Coastal Bend. In South Texas, we have a staff of over 200 EMTs and paramedics that provide 911 services in Nueces, San Patricio, and Aransas counties. We're also the proud preferred EMS partner for Christus Spawn Health System. Corpus Christi is home to our regional corporate office with full support services such as emergency dispatch, our certified emergency vehicle center, our corporate executive offices, including myself and Stephanie Roth, our senior vice president, and a fleet of nearly 50 ambulances that serve the South Texas area. Allegiance was built from the ground up from EMS experts. We're actively involved in driving this industry forward on a national and state level, involved in the American Ambulance Association, myself on various lobbying efforts to improve EMS conditions across the country and as well with the state Texas Ambulance Association. Each of our managers and executives have over 15 years of experience in EMS before joining the leadership team. And that depth and breadth was tested to its core during Hurricane Harvey. With our corporate-wide fleet of over 300 units and 1,000 EMTs and paramedics, Allegiance was able to mobilize and deploy multiple strike teams to evacuate Corpus Christi, Portland, Aransas Pass, Rockport, Bay City, and several parts of Houston. In South Texas, Allegiance was able to infuse 62 ambulances in less than 24 hours to help facilitate the evacuation of over 300 patients across 3 counties, which just shows an exceptional amount of effort and resources that our company brings to the table, and an exceptional team that we have behind us. Our reputation of quality service is backed by pure transparency and accountability. As put forth in our proposal, we will dedicate 3 fully equipped mobile intensive care paramedic units for the sole purpose of 911 responses to the city of Alice, 24/7, 365. Allegiance does not use its dedicated 911 ambulances for non-emergency facility transports. We provide non-emergency facility transports out of a whole separate fleet of ambulances. And in the interest of transparency, we also provide key stakeholders in the communities that we serve with access to our GPS system. So you guys at any time, whoever you guys pick, would have access to that GPS system to verify the placement and activity of the ambulances that you guys are paying for. As stated in our proposal, we're absolutely prepared to meet and exceed any of the expectations set forth in the RFP. We feel confident that we can best meet the needs of this community. And finally, we'd be absolutely honored to partner with you guys in building an EMS system in this community to serve your residents and visitors. And with that, in interest of time, I'll yield the floor back to you guys and answer any questions or concerns that you may have of us.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Gillespie.
Yes, sir.
They may have questions after we go through this, so thank you for your
Yes, sir.
presentation. And we can hear from
Thank you guys.
Mr. Kenneth Ponce with AirMed.
Mayor Council, good evening. My name's Kenneth Wentz. I'm with South Texas AirMed. Council, I'm the owner and founder of South Texas AirMed. We've been your ambulance 911 provider for the last 3 years in the community. In the community, we have grown with the public, taking care of the people here, worked with the people. And 3 years, we've up to 4 ambulances just in the city. We're also the county 911 provider as well. We've invested close to $2 million with the revenue into assets. We own the building on 505 North King. We've bought new ambulances, new defibrillators, stretchers, training. Our outreach in the community has been there. CPR classes were the first time ever we had a community citizens academy where we brought people in from the public at no cost, teach them CPR, control the bleed, and first aid. In the last 3 years, we've ran close to 11,000 calls. 11,000 calls, we've had maybe a handful of complaints, and we've handled them, 3 to be exact. In our proposal, we want to propose up to 7 vehicles in the city, 3 dedicated for 911. You know, we have a non-emergency community that we have to respond to as well. And we'll have the extra assets to take care of that with wheelchair van access. Some of the things that we also brought into the community was priority dispatch. You know, someone dials 911, pretty much the call goes to the call center. We're the first responders to any caller. So that means before the paramedic gets there, we can give first aid, we can do CPR. We even delivered babies by phone to the paramedic out there. Those are some of the services that we're offering at no cost to the city. The CAD system, you know, we've had that. That's where it generates our reports for the city when we come in. Our contract, we've been compliance. We've given reports showing 90% or greater on response times. So those are some of the investments we've done. We want to continue to invest more. We want to stay here. You know, we've been here in the community for 6 years. We also do services for Jim Wells County, Brooks, Clayburgh County, Jim Hop County. We're in Oasis. We're partners with Chris Respond Systems. Halo Flight's our partner in the public up there as first responders. In 3 years, we never asked for another ambulance company to respond within the community. We always handle our emergencies. The only one we've turned to is Halo Flight. But I hope in the 3 years we've proven to you guys that we've done the job, and we want to stay. So with that, if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Ponce.
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
So Mayor, what the committee has done is they had some scoring criteria, and it's in your packet. The largest portion of it, which weighed up at 25%, was the response times. The next largest portion was 20%, was the support services, which include the dispatch, training, report generation, transparency of unit placement and coverage, and then qualifications, of course, at 20% of the management staff and EMS and ambulance personnel. And down the line at the 10, and 5%, we have financial strength, transportation costs, mobilization time, and experience. And both scored very similar. And if you look at this packet, the South Texas AirMed scored a 91% out of 100%, and Allegiance Mobile Health scored 92 out of 100%. So our committee both thought that that's virtually equal, that they're probably would, scoring-wise, there's not a whole lot of difference in the total. And if we go back to the second page, we look at the actual proposal. And so we had a proposal A and a proposal B, and then also an alternate proposal, which we included in the RFP, which we asked them to bid on. And if you look at proposal 1, which was South Texas AirMed, they didn't submit for a proposal A, and we can get to that as to why in a second. Nor proposal B. They had an alternate proposal. Allegiance Mobile Health proposed an annual cost or monthly subsidy of $12,500, which will equal $150,000 a year, which is virtually where we are right now with AirMed, which is $151,200. Okay. Now we go to the alternate proposals, which were interesting because if you look at proposal B, or the alternate proposal, on the bottom of this page where it talks about what they're offering at a zero cost. And South Texas AirMed is offering a zero cost, and it's why they didn't propose anything on their, on a continuation of Proposal A. And that is 4 ambulances, which equate to 3 MICUs and 1 ALS ambulance. And those are specifically dedicated for 911 calls. And I believe from talking to them that the other ones would be for transports. They're just saying what they would have in town. The proposal that came from Allegiance at a zero cost is also, they are offering 4 MICU units and 2 BLS. Now, the zero cost also comes with a closed market ordinance that they would like to see us pass. Speaking with our city attorney, we can't do a closed market. And if we wanted to try to do something that would be similar to that, we would be with permitting, ambulance services and things of that sort. But there's a stipulation there with their zero cost. So we went through and verified with both providers as to what do they consider, what's a closed market, and I spoke to Mr. Gillespie, and we talked about that specifically. Also spoke with Mr. De Los Santos with AirMed about their proposal, whether it was closed market or not, and he said it's open. It's not a closed market. So comparing those two, it's very different, but it's still a zero cost to that. And the savings, of course, is the $150,000 that we're paying right now by going with a zero cost. So from a staff point of view, of course, we have to, considering that the service is, and what their scoring is pretty equal. They were off by 1 point. Our recommendation is not to be in a closed market, but to go with the South Texas AirMed proposal at zero cost and not be a closed market provider. And if you guys had any questions, and that's going to be our recommendation, of course, you guys can choose how you want to choose, but if you have any questions for them at this time, I think that'd be a good time to.
I have a question on the matrix that y'all did on qualifications. Because when I went over the packets, I show AirMed having a total of 161 years of experience on their key personnel, and Allegiance showing about 38 years added. And I added, so I don't see where that it was 19 and 20, because to me that's a big difference. I looked at key personnel, and that's what, comparing both packets. So
If I may, I can defer that to Diana and Patrick if he wants to come in with some of the questions on the scoring. They were on the scoring committee, and they'd probably best answer some of those questions. And I think, Roland was on there as well.
The qualifications and experience are actually divided up into 2 separate criteria. Criteria 3, qualifications, the definition that was in the RFP was supervisory and management staff and EMS ambulance personnel. We looked at how many they owned, whether the business was a minority-owned business or not, and ensuring that the personnel were licensed through Texas Department of Health Services. In that particular bracket, AirMed was given 20 and Allegiance 19. In looking at experience, which was criteria 7, that's the number of years that the company has been in the healthcare services business, and also in checking with their references. After going through that particular criteria, which was 5%, AirMed was given 5 and Allegiance 4. The references were double-checked, or actually Patrick is the one who spoke to the references, and Tina and Roland are the ones who went through the qualifications and finding what we could in the bids.
okay, I just find that way too large to be so close in numbers. Council, any questions, Mr. Molina?
I've none.
Mr. Burke?
Yes, I was wondering in terms of, can I direct it at a particular company, or, all right, make sure I'm not Airmet, I have a question. In terms of training of drivers, where do most of your drivers come from? Are they local people? Are they out-of-towners? And what training do they go through for being able to identify locations? And can I also extend that to, like, if someone calls in ill or something, substitute drivers, so they're familiar with our community and that it doesn't hamper response times? What has been your experience with that?
Yes, sir, Councilman. Alice is limited on when it comes to personnel. We staff or employ 433 people in our company. In the last 3 years, we never shut down a station or shut down a truck. So if we're lacking of personnel within that day, we always relocate somebody here to make sure that that station is available, operational. When it comes to tracking, our people are given map study tests. We have the GPS tracking on our vehicles as well. Again, when it comes to response times, we try to hit the 8-minute response times based on the contract, and we've proven that. So when it comes to personnel, it's been a shortage, but we've always trucked people in when we needed to, and we provided the service over the years.
Okay. Mr. Burke, any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Carrasco?
Thank you.
Thank you. No questions? Okay.
Mayor, if I may also, just to note that on our agreement, as moving forward where we have, we're paying for services, there is punitive damages should there be variances from the contract, such as a dedicated unit being used for a transport when it shouldn't be. And so those are one of the things that I think are pretty, things that we could worry about happening. And so on the contract, on the RP contract, we do want to make a change to that, and we talked to our city attorney on that also, that we do want to have a zero tolerance for that type of issue that come up. So he wants to change the right to cure provision. And one thing that he wanted to make sure is, since the two bidders are here, that they didn't have a problem with us changing the right to cure provision.
Yeah, and it would be, and the city submitted to you guys in your RFP, they submitted a proposed or possible contract, and it would have been Section 8, termination of the agreement, page 24 of the contract, the first paragraph, and that you were given, upon notice, you were going to be given 7 days to cure any material breach. And a material breach is specifically identified in the contract underneath there, and it's kind of serious, those material breaches. For instance, failure to meet response times for more than 3 consecutive months or 4 months during a 12-month period. It's not like, okay, you don't hit one response time. It's we have records to show that you've continually been doing it, or maybe contumaciously or contemptuously been doing it. And so, we're going to go ahead and end the contract. And so, in speaking to the city manager, we're going to remove or pull the 7 days to cure provision. That basically, upon notification of a material violation is set out in the contract, we would give you 7 days notification, and then the contract would terminate. And then we would figure out which way we were going to go next from there, or whatever. And that would be one change that you all would need to know about. See if you wanted to change your position on your submissions tonight. No? Okay.
Okay. I have a question, and this is just, as always, trying to be a steward of our taxpayers and their investment, obviously, in health. Going through the two, I went across the key for cost of services, and with Allegiance, I noticed that y'all had 3 columns, and I might be incorrect, but it was like 3 columns, and the pricing was different for insurance, for Medicaid, and for, I don't know what the 3rd column was. Is there a reason why there's a difference in price?
A lot of it has to do with our contracted rates with the carriers and how Medicare and Medicaid pay out.
Okay. And AirMed, correct me if I'm wrong, I just had one cost for your services. Okay, okay. Okay. Council, any other questions? No? All right. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion at this time. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to award a contract for emergency medical ambulance services to South Texas AirMed as per the submitted RFP and the recommendation of our city manager and staff.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Your Honor, just a point of clarification again, and Mr. Burke, as it was submitted in the RFP, we amended
We
the
amended.
submission
with-
to pull the cure provision.
Okay, with
The amendment as I
amendment as
presented.
presented.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed? Okay. Thank you, council. The motion stands as stated and corrected. Congratulations, AirMed. Thank you. Thank you, Allegiance, very much for your interest in our city. We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You man.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bunsen, thank you, sir.
No, you need to thank me. I got no say in that.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Los Santos.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's all right. Thank you.
Okay. Agenda item number 7, consider and act upon adopting a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute the required documents for the depository services agreement between the city of Alice and Wells Fargo Bank.
Okay, Mayor, this is, in your packet, you had some of the backup from, this is from, stems from a meeting from April of 2016, where the council approved the depository services with Wells Fargo. However, since that time, nothing got ratified. There wasn't a contract to come forward. And so it's been kind of sitting there month to month. Roland and John have been working on this for a while. One of the first things when I came on, I started working on it because they let me know about our month to month and the fact that, rates have changed. We need to go ahead and ratify this agreement. Speaking to our many meetings with our city attorney and our finance director, we decided, our city attorney said that we can move forward, and that you guys can pretty much ratify through a resolution saying, yes, you can continue that, you can sign an agreement based on that previous meeting. What's happened, there's going to be a monetary change because of rates changing. And the swing is going to be where we were paying money for services, but now since the rates are going up, we're actually going to start collecting money for our deposits. And so it'll be a significant change. And what I'd like to do also is base the, it was a 5-year agreement that was approved. And because the rates are going up, what I would like to do is base that 5 years, use the start date of the April 16, 2016 as a reference point of the 5 years. So when we get the contract back from Wells Fargo, we'll use that as reference points and do a 5-year from the remainder of that 5 years based on that point. And so what I'd like to get y'all's permission to move forward and to get the agreement from Wells Fargo and get us back under contract.
Okay. Council, any questions? Ms. Carrasco?
No.
Mr. Burke?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Molina?
No, ma'am.
Okay. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I'd like to move, excuse me, I'd like to move for the adoption of the resolution for the city manager to execute required documents for the depository service agreement between the city of Alice and Wells Fargo Bank.
Okay.
That's sufficient.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign? Okay. The ayes have it. Motion stands as stated. Agenda item number 8, discuss, consider, and act upon authorizing city staff to submit a grant application to the Office of Justice Programs, Bureau of Justice Assistance for up to 50% reimbursement for the purchase of 4 bulletproof vests under fiscal year 2018 BVP.
And Mayor, we're going to have Barbara Reeves present this and Hector Satucha.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Evening.
We've participated in this program since 2001 and have been awarded $69,676.65 to purchase bulletproof vests. This year, the 5-year replacement cycle was up for 25 vests, which we purchased using our 2016 grant and most of our 2017 grant. The 50% match for those 25 vests was provided for with forfeiture funds that had been set aside. Our department in May 2020, the 5-year replacement cycle will be up for 2 vests, and in March 2021, the 5-year cycle will be up for 3 vests. These grants are good for 2 years, and based upon the replacement cycle and the duration of the grant, we'd like authorization to apply for 4 vests. The current quote for vests is $799 per vest plus shipping charges. So for 4 vests, the estimated total vest cost would be $3,196, and we anticipate a shipping cost of $20 per order. The 50% match for this grant application will be planned for in the police department's fiscal year 19 budget. Applications are due May 29th. And we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Council questions, Ms. Carrasco?
No.
Okay, Mr. Burke?
No.
Mr. Molina?
Just had a real quick question for Hector.
Yes,
What do you all do with the vests that it's time to cycle? Is that what, the way I understood it? They're basically,
The officers just keep them because there's not really a need for them.
okay,
We'd just be storing them and just keep them there for now.
wow, okay,
In the past, we did use them to line the black van we had there,
right,
but since we've got the armored car now, don't use those ones anymore.
wow, okay. So,
Okay. If there are no questions, council, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I'd like to move for approval authorizing city staff to submit a grant application in the Office of Justice Programs, Bureau of Justice Assistance for the purchase of 4 bulletproof vests under the FY2018 BVP.
Okay, can I get a second?
second,
Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion stands as stated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 9, consider and act upon adopting a resolution authorizing the city manager to submit to the Texas Water Development Board a grant application for flood protection planning, authorizing the city manager and/or mayor to enter into a contract with the Texas Water Development Board if grant funds are awarded, committing local matching funds in cash or in-kind services for the project, authorizing the city manager to enter into a interlocal agreement with Jim Wells County to delineate each entity's responsibilities for the project.
Mayor Barbara's going to speak to this again, and this is also part of that drainage that we've been working on and looking for solutions to it. The one that runs through the city, Pintus Creek, that runs from the city out to the county. So we're getting started on trying to get some grant money to make better improvements to it.
Mayor and council, this program will help provide funding for a study of the Pintus Creek watershed, which is shown on the screen, and I believe you have a map as well, which involves that part of a portion of the city as well as portions of precincts 2 and 3 in the county. And as you are aware, we've had issues with flooding in that area. We'd like to apply for $65,000 in a flood protection planning grant to hire an engineer or an engineering firm to identify and survey the top 3 restrictions in the Pintus Creek channel, and also to prepare recommendations to resolve those issues. This grant program requires a 50% match, and match can be cash and/or in kind. For the scope of work that we're proposing, eligible in-kind activities could include administrative in-kind, such as city and county staff preparing and managing the 3 required public hearings, processing engineering invoices, and preparations of requests for reimbursement. For a $65,000 grant, the 50% match would total $32,500. This project will also be considered by Commissioners Court at the meeting they have this Friday, May 25th. Grant applications are due July, and this is a reimbursement grant program, as are most of our grant programs.
Okay.
The city's 2019 budget would be impacted by this grant.
Okay. Council, any questions? Mr. Molina?
No.
Okay, Mr. Burke?
No.
Ms. Carrasco?
I'm excited to see this, so, yes, no. I have no question.
Okay. I am too. This is much needed for improvement of drainage. I'll entertain a motion at this time if council is ready.
Mayor, I'll move for adopting a resolution authorizing the city manager to submit to the Texas Water Development Board a grant application for flood protection planning, authorizing city manager and mayor to enter a contract with the Texas Water Development Board if grants are awarded, and committing the local matching funds either in cash and/or kind services for the project, and authorizing the city manager to enter into an interlocal agreement with Jim County to delineate each entity's responsibilities.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion stands as stated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Barber. Thank you, council.
Mayor, we can maybe open 10 and 11 together.
Together? Perfect. Okay. Agenda item number 10, consider and act upon authorizing the city manager to enter into a service agreement to purchase communication services for the city of Alice, utilizing a vendors listed on buy board or other state contract service. And agenda item 11, consider and act upon authorizing the city manager to purchase telephone equipment utilizing a vendor listed on buy board or other state contract service, and authorizing the financing of the equipment via a lease purchase contract.
Mayor, and we've been working on these IT and technology items, and done a lot of work on it, and we found a buy board contractor, and had a presentation also on the phone system and some of the specifics that the phone system can do. I'll let Jim talk to that, and then we can talk about the equipment and the lease purchase of that. And I mean, we've got phone issues, and this is going to solve a lot of our phone issues. But Jim has been dealing with this particular vendor, and for a while, talked to them for a while. When we had the presentation, saw their service and how their voice IP works. We're ready to go. Jim, go ahead.
It's like night and day compared to what we have now. We have an old system, it's about 12 years old. We have a lot of connection problems, especially at the remote locations, mainly because their internet connection is too slow and the system is too old. So we get a lot of dropped calls and things like that. This will be able to put the system up in the cloud, so anywhere we have internet, actually, you can plug in and use your phone. It's the same system that Rockport used when Hurricane Harvey came through, and they picked up and went to Bastrop, set up in the library, and answered like 19,000 calls that first week. So if it ever comes to that, we'll be able to do that. We'll be able to put one in John's office, so we can talk to him and find out what he's up to.
Yay.
You can take it with you on vacation if you like it. But anyway, this system is it's 120 phones altogether. It's going to, of course, replace all of our old ones. We'll get rid of all that. We've looked at a couple of other vendors as well, and this vendor is the only one that has the kind of pricing that we're looking at, because most everybody charges by the seat. So you're looking at 120 seats at $15 to $17, $20 a piece. This guy He does it by concurrent call paths. So for 25 call paths, it's probably half the price compared to everybody else. And his record for support and all that has been great. We'll be buying the equipment, but we'll actually be getting it through a lease, through a 3-year lease with a $1 buyout. And we'll be able to pay for it by cutting phone lines that we have now down to the bare minimum. Well, I think we may only need about 10 fax lines, maybe less, in the city, get rid of all the other ones. And so that will make our monthly payments for the equipment and the service and save an additional $500 or $600 a month probably.
And one of the differences, back on the, how they're charging for the seats is, and the seats are the number of lines that we have. So typically we have about 120 lines, and vendors will charge you for that. And what they're doing on average, they're saying, you know, we only have 25 people at any given time on the phone. And so what happened, that's what they're charging us for, is the average that we're going to use. That doesn't mean if we go up and let's say consistently we have 35 people on the phone, well, our cost may go up a little bit to include those, but we'll still be able to pick up the phone and use it. But their charge is kind of like a per usage basis, which is, and it's a buy board cost, but that's the only vendor that does that. So it's really, really helpful. Not only that, but their software on their, voice over IP is voice over IP, and then what makes it is everything else they use. Their software is pretty incredible. We got a glimpse of it and how it works, and how we can, track all the calls, sort them. We can set different calls to, just like any other voice IP, but theirs is pretty easy to work on. Set a number of calls before it rolls over to someone else. And so that's, we can record calls for customer service purposes, things like that as well. So there's a lot of features that it has, the service has. They are the phone provider for Rockport, and just that alone doesn't make them a good fit for us. And so they just happen to be that provider, and they were able to get run in when Rockport they went to Bastrop, and were able to plug in the internet connection, and they were up and running. It's a selling point, but the fact on how they charge is what we're looking at, and plus the connectivity in their software. So I think we'll be real pleased with that, and we won't have the phone issues we're having. Then on the lease purchase part, the phone systems, I think is it in here? It's like 30,000?
35,550 for everything, including the install.
Right. And when we figured the lease part, it's not very expensive. At the end of the term, I think we buy them for $1 a phone. And it's a 3-year lease, and it may be another just a couple of $1,000s of interest for that. And that's also a buy board item as well. So we're ready to kind of get our whole system up and running properly.
Good. Very good. Council, any questions, Mr. Molina?
No, I have no questions.
Mr. Burke? Ms. Carrasco?
I have a question. On the equipment, while we're leasing it, is there a warranty on it for
Yes, it'll be
replacement or?
it'll be totally covered throughout the period of the lease. And I don't remember. It seems like he was offering more than that even.
The life of the phone. I mean, they warranty it after the lease also. I think he said it's just a lifetime warranty on the phone. He said and all the phones they've had, they haven't had maybe, 1 or 2 go bad, I think. One of the things that, since it's a voice over IP system, the software will upgrade on it. So you may, that phone's going to be able to automatically upgrade. And we can also do something where if there's a mass upgrade, we can choose a time of the day and say, okay, at 8 o'clock at night, no one's going to be here, let's go ahead and hit the upgrade. And all the software will upgrade on the phone system all at once.
I like the rollover, because if someone's calling in, the customer service aspect of it,
Right.
we'd have that system in place, and where they could possibly leave a message. I think that's
Yeah,
good.
absolutely. Now, is that going to be an automated receptionist, or could we?
It's however we wanted to do it.
It's an
I mean,
option
the
if you
optional,
want,
you can
yeah.
have an automated system on there, or we could have somebody answer the phone. And also, if we have a main receptionist, they do offer a lot of an attachment to the phone to be able to see the people that they need to transfer to.
Perfect.
And we'll be able to transfer to remote locations as well. It's just, we're catching up
Yeah.
to where we need to be.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, I would love to see a receptionist come with that system. Customer service, just saying. Okay, council, if nobody has questions.
Is it 2 motions or 1?
Yeah, one for item 10 and one for.
Two motions.
Okay. I'll motion to authorize city manager to enter in a service agreement to purchase communication services for the city of Alice.
Wait a
Second.
second. Okay, all in favor? On
Aye.
agenda item number 10, motion stands as stated. Agenda item number 11.
Also, motion to authorize city manager to purchase telephone equipment utilizing vendor on the buy board.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion stands as stated. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moving to the 21st century. Agenda item number 12. Consider and act upon approval of minutes for the meeting of May 8th, 2018. Does council have any corrections? Mr. Molina, you have anything to correct or add?
I have none there.
Okay, Mr. Burke?
No.
Ms. Carrasco? No. If there are no corrections, if I can get a motion to approve the minutes?
I move for approval of the minutes for the meeting of May 8th, 2018.
Thank you. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion stands as stated. Agenda item number 13, adjourn and or consider and act upon adjournment. The time is now 8:20. I call this meeting adjourned. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Have a great evening. Thank you, staff.